In a rematch of last year's ODAC Championship, Washington and Lee and Shenandoah square off tonight in Lexington as the Hornets and Generals vie against each other in an important Old Dominion Athletic Conference women's basketball team here in Lexington. We say hello and welcome to the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Thanks so much for joining us here this evening. Alongside Shane Riley, I'm Ryan Connell. And Shane, when these two teams get together, Shenandoah and Washington and Lee, often a very close affair. Last year, overtime to decide a winner in the conference championship game where Washington and Lee won a second straight Old Dominion Athletic Conference title, their first meeting since last February, coming here tonight.
Yeah, and as you said, Ryan, both of these teams, whenever they match up, an electrifying game is always put on display. You talk about last season, earlier in that season, Shenandoah came in to Lexington and stole a W here, the 1-point victory with the last 30-second shot by Shenandoah, and then later on in that season, as you talked about the ODAC championship game, W&L able to pull out that 9-point victory in overtime. But this one's shaping up to be an exciting one as these two teams always give each other their best.
Washington and Lee riding a 5-game winning streak. Shenandoah winners of 3 of their last 4. They're 9-4 on the season, 5-1 in the conference, while Washington and Lee 12-2 on the campaign, 4-1 in ODAC play, and 4-0 in at home this season. And as we take a look at the conference standings, both these teams vying for key positioning. Right now, Bridgewater perfect 6-0 atop the conference. Randolph-Macon in second at 5-0. The only two teams unbeaten in ODAC play. And they have Shenandoah and Washington Lee right behind them in third and fourth respectively. Guilford, the team that beat Shenandoah just over a week and a half ago, they're in fifth place. And then you have Lynchburg, Ferrum, and Randolph to round out the top 8. Roanoke, Collins, EMU, Virginia Wesleyan, and Averett all the way through the bottom there. And the top 4 or 5 teams in the conference this season especially strong. And this is just one of the few matchups where we will see them square off against each other. Washington and Lee play Shenandoah twice in the regular season. This is the first meeting between the Generals and Hornets coming here in Lexington tonight.
And because the ODAC at the top is so tight, that just goes to show that these matchups become more and more important, trying to stack up those wins and build your record in ODAC play. Obviously, we talked about Bridgewater and Randolph-Macon undefeated so far in conference play, so both of these teams trying to catch up to them, trying to keep their win-loss record with just that one loss. And as you said, they do match up again later in the season, so whoever wins this one today, the other team will have a chance at redemption.
And Washington and Lee and Shenandoah just getting ready to get underway. The Generals already played Bridgewater the one time they played them. That's their one conference loss. They'll have a matchup against Randolph-Macon in a couple of weeks. While Shenandoah gets Washington and Lee twice, they'll play Randolph-Macon twice, and they still have yet to play Bridgewater as well. But between those 4 teams vying for those key spots, and with how the postseason shakes up this year with the ODAC, the field is reduced from 10 to 8 teams. The quarterfinals are played on campus sites at the top 4 schools, and then the top 4 teams move on to Salem for the semifinals and finals at the ODAC championship. So getting a top 4 seed, important to also getting a home game in the quarterfinals on campus.
Yeah, and as you said, home games always so important, and it's that 4-5 matchup this season could end up being very intriguing with these top 5 teams really looking good. Right now, it'd be Washington and Lee against Guilford, but as all these teams play each other so many more times, that the top 5 seedings and even some teams from below can sneak in, so it'd be really interesting to see how this ODAC season plays out.
We'll step aside for the national anthem when we return. Starting lineups and tip-off here tonight in Lexington. Welcome back to Lexington inside Holekamp Gymnasium. Getting set for tip-off tonight between Washington Elite and Shenandoah. It's time to meet the starting lineups first for the visiting Hornets of Shenandoah. 9-4 in the season, 5-1 in league play, 4-3 away from the Wilkins Athletics and Event Center in Winchester this season. Head coach Melissa Smeltzer-Craftner, her 12th season in charge of the Hornets, her assistant Tessa Johnston in her 3rd season. It starts with a 5'8 junior guard from Thurmont, Maryland, number 1, Emily Williams. A 5'2 graduate guard from Herndon, Virginia, number 2, Maddie Kimball. A 5'7 senior guard from Culpeper, Virginia, number 3, Therese Green. A 5'8 senior guard from Newmarket, Maryland, number 22, Gabby Kristofiak. And rounding out the starting 5 for the Hornets, a 6'2 senior forward from Chesterfield, Virginia, number 50, Shawnee's Campbell. As for Washington and Lee, 16th ranked team in the WBCA top 25, number 20 in the D3Hoops.com top 25. They're 12-2 on the season. 4-1 in ODAC play and a perfect 4-0 in Holekamp Gym this season. It starts the backcourt with a 5'7 guard from Corvallis, Oregon, number 10, Elka Preckle. She's joined by a 5'9 sophomore guard from Tampa, Florida, number 12, Zoo Rain. A 5'7 junior guard from Columbia, New Jersey, number 14, Quinn McGinnis. A 5'11 sophomore forward from Little Rock, Arkansas, number 30, Riley Bryant. And rounding out the starting 5 for the Generals, a 6'1 junior forward from Charlotte, North Carolina, number 50, Mary Slicener. So Shenandoah in the visiting navy blue uniforms, white numbers and letters, red trim to them. They will go left to right here in the first half, while Washington only in the home white uniforms, blue numbers and letters, Generals across the front of their chest. They'll go right to left here in the first 20 minutes. So Lee Campbell and Slicer to get ready to tip us off at half court. Ryan Connell and Shane Riley with you on the Washington and Lee Sports Network, and a rematch of last year's ODAC championship. These two teams have met each of the last 2 years for the conference crown, and the Generals have come out on top in both 2023 and 2024. Slicer will win back the tip for the Generals, who start with the basketball going right to left. Shenandoah coming out man-to-man defensively. Slicer will get a touch along the block. The turnaround over the top of Campbell, left it short, but McGinnis grabbed the miss and was standing on the end line.
For Shenandoah, you know that the ball is always going to end up in the hands of Slicer at some point. Her taking the shot there on that possession. Fortunate that she had good position inside, just not able to finish, and Shenandoah takes the ball away.
So around the perimeter it comes here for Emily Williams. Therese Green, leading scorer for the Hornets, gets it back. A straightaway triple from Green, back iron and out, and Slicer away with the rebound.
And both teams on their first possession going to their leading scorer. Both teams not able to make the shot, though. Keeps the score 0-0.
Preckle on the drive, picks up her dribble. The turnaround in the lane, off the mark, and a good box out by Campbell to grab the miss. Hornets this season led by Therese Green, leading scorer in the conference at almost 22.5 a game. She's able to save it there off Preckle's legs to keep possession for her squad. But the senior from Culpeper, Virginia, efficient 47% from the floor this year. She scored over 20 points in 10 of their 13 games this season. Williams gets a touch in the lane, the turnaround, and that's the first 2 points of the day for Emily Williams.
I think for W&L, Green is going to be the focal point on defense, forcing her into tougher shots and forcing other teams like Williams to put the ball in the basket.
Preckle misses the three. Slicer the offensive rebound. Leaves off for McGinnis. A drive to the basket, and she's fouled. So 2 free throws coming here for McGinnis.
And good unselfish play there from Slicer, grabbing the board, understanding that she had McGinnis with her on that cut, and then McGinnis did a good job cutting to the hoop and drawing the foul.
So McGinnis steps up to the free throw line for the Generals as she knocks down the first. McGinnis this season, top free throw shooter for Washington at Lee, just under 80%. It's 79% and change, and she goes 2 for 2. A 2-2 start here in Lexington between the Hornets and Generals. Green to the bucket, going into the body of Slicer, gets her own miss. The putback is good for Therese Green.
Slicer, they're not super aggressive on defense, letting Green get right to the cup and pick up her own offensive board.
Bryant thought about the three, elected not to take it. She'll get it back in front of the Hornets bench. Slicer working baseline, skip pass for McGinnis. McGinnis to the hoop, throws it up and won't get it to go. Kimball trying to slip it through. Slicer got a hand there, and then Bryant away with it. And a foul against Green. And so the Washington lead ball just in front of half court.
Slicer with excellent open court defense, understanding that ball was going in right behind her, and sticks a hand out and knocks that one away, winning W&L possession.
4-2 start here for Shenandoah. Slicer right elbow. Moves off for Preckle. McGinnis, kick out for Bryant, a three. Left it short.
That has been an area the Generals have struggled with this season, shooting the ball from deep. Oftentimes that's part of their game that goes silent. We'll see if they're able to get that shot unlocked today.
Kimball will rise and fire. Her three off the mark, and Preckle will salvage the board. Generals get it across half court. Slicer spinning right. Thought she got bumped. And her shot off the mark.
Very slow start right now for this Generals offense. Still just those 2 points from the line and no field goals able to be hit so far.
Trying to loft it down to Campbell. And she'll throw it ahead, looking for Williams, but Williams was out of bounds, trying to save it. Sarah Zimmerman will rotate in. Riley Bryant will be the first to exit here for the Generals. Zimmerman coming off her best game of her career, 17 points, a career high on Saturday against Ferrum. She was Washington Lee's leading scorer in a 63-50 win over the Panthers.
She'll be able to carry that hot hand over into this game.
Slicer turns around at the free throw line. Throws it down low for McGinnis, cutting to the hoop. Loose ball on the ground. Campbell able to save it. Green trying to Euro step to the lane, and Rain going to be called for the foul. And I'll send Therese Green to the line for a couple of free throws.
And Slicer on the other side of the court there. If she would be able to get that pass out just a second earlier, McGinnis there would have been able to put it up, but fortunately unable to happen, and they commit the foul on the other end of the floor.
So Green steps up to the line, and the first one rattles out for her. Shenandoah, quality free throw shooting team, 72% as a squad. They have a couple of players hovering right around 79-80%, one of them being Green, and she goes 1 for 2. 5-2 Hornets, 3.5 minutes into the opening quarter. Generals still looking for their first made field goal of the night. And Slicer traveled.
And right now in these early possessions, the ball getting down low to Slicer, she's not really able to work her own shot too well. A lot of those cuts have been open, which is something the Generals should look for as they try to unlock themselves on offense early in this game.
And an illegal screen called against Campbell as McGinnis ran right into her. That's the first foul against Shawnee's Campbell. Third foul on the Hornets, and we'll see a sub here. It'll be Sydney Shepos into the game first for Shenandoah, and she'll replace Shawnee's Campbell. But Campbell, solid defensive start against Slicer in the low block, not really allowing her to get the best angle and position that she's been trying to look for.
You got to see if Slicer now with a little bit more of a height advantage, if she'll go to work here.
Turnaround over Shepos. It rattles around and out. A foul coming away from the ball that time, and it's going to go against Sarah Zimmerman, which will be her first. In comes Brianna Shuttlewood. Off goes Elka Preckle. Kimball to inbound here for the Hornets. Shepos for Williams. Kimball stops in the lane. Shepos, a mid-range jumper. And a rebound by McGinnis. Slicer trying to step through everybody. Zimmerman grabs the miss. And the Generals can reset. Shuttlewood for Slicer. She'll try a straightaway three, and that one won't fall either.
Slicer right now really struggling to get on court. That shot could almost be seen as a frustration three, just trying to get some points on the board for herself, but still unable to find their first field goal are the Generals.
Washington only 0 for 10 from the floor. Kimball hits a baseline jumper, and it's 7-2 Shenandoah.
Shenandoah have a really good ball movement right now offensively. also struggling a little bit from the field, but able to knock down that nice little mid-range to extend their lead to 5.
Shuttlewood driving to the hoop. And that one off the mark. It's been tough sledding for the W&L offense here to start. Green, a catch and shoot triple is good. Timeout, Washington and Lee. A 10-2 start for Shenandoah. And the Hornets are up by 8. That'll take us to the media timeout. 4:34 to play here in the first quarter. A 10-2 lead for Shenandoah on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. 4:34 to play here in the first quarter. A 10-2 start for Shenandoah as they're in front of 16th ranked Washington and Lee. Ryan Connell and Shane Riley with you on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Icy Kania into the game for the Generals coming out of the timeout. Washington and Lee still searching for that first made bucket. Just 0 for 11 from the floor. Slicer, power dribble in the lane through traffic. And she turns it over. Green trying to go to the hoop to the right hand. And that one drops for Therese Green.
And Green, excellent coast-to-coast play there off the Schleicher turnover. Schleicher looked like she telegraphed that pass before she made it.
Slicer, power dribble to the left, and there's the first bucket for Washington and Lee.
She had a few of those looks earlier in the game, just not able to get a friendly bounce, but finally there, W&L gets uncorked and puts a field goal up on the board.
Williams for Kimball. Picked up her dribble at the elbow. Just has to hoist one up, fading away. And they'll say last touch by the Hornets. Preckle will re-enter as McGinnis cycles off.
See the differences with these teams as well. W&L very active with the bench early in this game. Shenandoah a little more hesitant with some of the substitutions, but so far that's working in Shenandoah's favor.
Slicer, another turnaround. That drops for Mary Slicer. So back-to-back field goals for her. Let's cut the Hornets' lead back down to 6. Kristofiak around here for Kimball. Williams high post. Kimball catch and shoot straight away. Triple is good.
For W&L there, nobody really came up off of that screen to get a hand in the face, and a really easy shot there for Kimball to knock down their second 3 of the night.
A foul there against the Hornets. And that goes against Emily Williams, and that'll be her second. Megan Zimmerman and Quinn McGinnis off the bench for the Generals. And it'll be a late change here for Shenandoah as well. That's Addison Banks going to come out and spell Williams, who picked up her second personal. Slicer gets it on the inbound. The turnaround drops off for Sarah Zimmerman underneath the basket, and too strong on the layup. Green, a deep 3 off the back iron and over the backboard and out.
A little bit of a heat check there for Green, pulling up from deep range. Shot looked good from up here for a moment, but big bounce right over the backboard.
8 points already, though, for Therese Green, so he'll take a miss from the outside. It's still been a rather good start for the ODAC's leading scorer. Slicer Campbell as her defender, goes to Megan Zimmerman. Schleissner, a straightaway three, trying to answer, and it rattles out.
And for Shenandoah, if the end result for W&L is a Schleissner three, they will happily live with that. Schleissner just 3 for 22 before this game on the season from behind the arc, so definitely not the most consistent shooter. Shenandoah will certainly live with those kind of shots.
McGinnis picks up the foul. Inbounds play coming here for the Hornets. Shenandoah 6 of 12 from the field. Washington elite 2 of 15. Banks along the wing, no. And Schleissner able to grapple the miss. McGinnis run off the three-point line, and she traveled.
You can see the indecision there from McGinnis, whether or not she wanted to take that three or drive. Just a little bit of a toe drag, and commits the travel.
Green gets to the elbow, just hoists it up. It felt like she was bumped before she got that shot up. Just felt like she almost had to get rid of it just for the foul. And now Zimmerman has the shot blocked on the wing.
An excellent hustle play there from Kimball to get back and block that shot. But as you said, Green definitely got bumped and threw the ball, thinking that a foul would have been called, but the officials swallowed their whistles.
And this in for Schleissner at the elbow. Going back to the right side, able to slip through. A lot of traffic in the lane. And the Generals not really able to finish. Green trying to create some separation, unable to do so. On out for Washington and Lee. Zimmerman in the lane, and we have a jump ball. And the possession arrow favors Shenandoah.
An excellent work there by Campbell, standing strong in the paint, not allowing Zimmerman to get up into her body, and then gets a hand on the ball, forcing the jump ball to win back possession for the Hornets.
1:08 to play here in the opening quarter. As Jessica Littlejohn comes in for the Hornets. She'll replace Therese Green. Kristofiak back over for Littlejohn. Trying to find a cutter. Kimball in the corner. Off the mark. This one turned over. And a layup for Maddie Kimball in transition.
That's just lazy on W&L's side there. Schleissner with the pass over to Zimmerman. And
McGinnis with the easy layup in transition the other way.
a little bit of laziness from both sides there. Shenandoah not able to get back, but W&L on that earlier turnover. Schleissner passing the ball right into the hands of Kimball.
Seemed like it was kind of between McGinnis and Zimmerman. Banks on the drive, and the foul on the floor. Going to go against Riley Bryant. It'll be her first. So 12 and a half seconds left here in the opening quarter. Hornets will take Kimball out. Bayless will come on. Bayless along the baseline, no. And last touch that time by Banks. So 8.6 seconds left. Chance for one more shot here for the Generals.
A big chance to get a little bit of momentum going into that second quarter, especially with how poorly they've shot this quarter.
Schleissner on the drive and kick. Zimmerman in the corner. Back ironing out as the first quarter comes to a close. Shenandoah, a 17-8 lead over number 16 Washington and Lee after 10 minutes of play. 8 points for Therese Green, 7 more for Maddie Kimball, and the Hornets in control after 10 minutes. We'll step aside, have second quarter action when we return on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Back for the start of the second quarter here in Lexington, a 17-8 lead for Shenandoah over number 16 Washington and Lee. Ryan Connell and Shane Riley with you on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. The Hornets got 15 of their 17 from their two top players, Therese Green and Maddie Kimball, combining to go 6 for 14 and score 15 points in that opening quarter.
Yeah, those two top scorers for the Shenandoah Hornets really carrying their offensive effort right now, but when you look at the game right now, their defensive effort is really what stands out. The Generals just shooting 15% from the floor, so you have to give a lot of credit to what the Hornets have brought out defensively, mostly just in a man-to-man look, but hustling, making the plays they need to make. You saw that block earlier by Kimball in the corner, so hustling around on defense is really what's built the lead for them.
So there'll be Washington and Lee basketball here to start the second quarter. And it'll be Riley Bryant, Mary Slicer, Quinn McGinnis, Elka Preckle, and Megan Zimmerman. Zoo Rain working with the athletic training staff down at the end of the Generals bench. She checked out after about 5 minutes in that first quarter, has not returned since. McGinnis trying to go to the hoop. And a jump ball on the rebound between Slicer and Campbell will turn it over to the Hornets. For Shenandoah here, it's Bayless, Banks, Campbell, Green, and Littlejohn. A 5 to start the second quarter as the Generals show a little bit of pressure. This one lofted over the top for Green, and she's able to lay it in.
An excellent job there by Green, cutting to the hoop, realizing that the Generals weren't back on defense, and she had a lane to get the ball. Able to finish the nice layup there.
McGinnis for Preckle. Sets from straight away. And a defensive board. And a foul going to come underneath against the Generals, and that's going to go against Megan Zimmerman.
Something for the Generals to think about, too, right now is a lot of their possessions, they've shot the ball early in the shot clock, not really moved it around as much, especially we saw in that last possession. Maybe for them, they want to slow it down a little bit, try to find an open shot, and start to see the ball go through the net and build some confidence.
Green has it on the perimeter, leaves off here for Littlejohn. Green picks up her dribble. Littlejohn going to hoist and hit. Maybe not the shot you drew up if you're the Hornets. Well, Jessica Littlejohn hits, and a turnover in front of the Hornets bench. A travel from Elka Preckle.
And the Hornets right now really starting to stack their momentum from that first quarter, hitting their first couple shots in this half, and a couple good defensive possessions stopping the Generals from scoring.
A travel by Green. Sarah Zimmerman going to come back in. And replace Riley Bryant. 22-8 lead for Shenandoah. They've led from the get-go. Generals just 3 of 21 from the floor. Preckle to the basket with the left hand. No. Slicer gets the miss and finishes through contact.
For the Generals, that'll be a big part of their comeback into this game as Slicer's able to generate some offensive rebounds, as she does quite often, and then get those putbacks, which weren't falling in the first quarter, but that one falls for her.
On the layup that time was Addison Banks. She couldn't hit. Slicer, and a foul by Littlejohn, just reaching in. Just trying to cut off the Generals moving in transition and take a foul. And a Shuttlewood back in for the Generals. Maddie Kimball cycling back in for the Hornets. And a turnover into the hands of Therese Green. That's the layup in transition as Slicer grabs the miss.
How the General struggles right now just seem like miscommunication and playing a little too fast.
And this one turned over, or I should say a foul, as Zimmerman was bumped to the ground.
Green obviously unable to finish on that transition play on the other side, but the Generals just not communicating well on that inbounds play, bumping into each other and passing the ball right into the hands of the Shenandoah defense.
That's the second foul, though, on Green, so despite having 10 points, takes a seat. Here are 2 fouls. Emily Williams already on the bench for the Hornets with 2 fouls, and Generals trailing by 12. Perhaps can try and find a way to get back in this game. A couple of the Hornets starters down on the bench. And that's a interesting call nonetheless. They'll call a travel, but it's hard to travel when the ball gets knocked out of your hands.
Yeah, Campbell there very clearly knocked that ball out. The referee maybe not with the best angle there, but Slicer trying to plead her case. Still going to end up as a W&L turnover.
Kimball will slow it down here for the Hornets. Kimball, 8 to shoot. Now low for Campbell, bowling her way to the basket, lowering the shoulder into Slicer and finishing for 2.
You can see there a little bit more uncertainty for Shenandoah on that offensive possession, but Campbell, great position inside to finish.
Megan Zimmerman, the shot fake. Step inside the three-point line in the deep 2.
And a beautiful move there from Zimmerman, completely getting rid of her defender and then freeing herself up for a nice little 20-foot mid-range.
24-12. Hornets in control by a dozen. Littlejohn on the cut to the basket.
It's even defensively now, the Generals just struggling to communicate. Nobody really picking up that cutter. And a free bucket there for Littlejohn.
Shuttlewood had to get rid of it. Zimmerman underneath the basket. Kicks out to younger sister Megan. Shuttlewood, a straightaway 3. And Brianna Shuttlewood dials it up. It's the first made triple of the night for the Generals. Long pass up ahead, and it's Kristofiak.
And that's the second time that the Hornets have been able to get in deep behind that Generals full court pressure, and second free layup that they've been able to generate off of some miscues from this Generals defense.
Slicer with Campbell as the defender. The turnaround goes for Mary Slicer. Generals continuing to show pressure to make the Hornets speed it up. Kimball feeding it underneath for Kristofiak. And Littlejohn backs it out. Kimball, a deep 3 on the wing, no. Megan, or I should say Sarah Zimmerman to the bucket, no. Megan Zimmerman the rebound. Shuttlewood, a second chance 3 is good.
Shuttlewood now with a couple threes this quarter, starting to heat up. The entire Generals offense now starting to get the shots to fall. Confidence is building. Starting to claw them with their way back into this one.
Kimball cutting the basket, just throwing it up, looking for a foul, won't get it. Slicer on the break the other way. Goes to McGinnis in the corner. Slicer drops it down for Zimmerman. The layup, no, but a foul on the closeout. And that'll go against Shawnee's Campbell, which will be her second. That'll take us, though, to the media timeout. 4:49 to play here in the second. A 28-20 game. The Generals in the midst of a mini run here to try and close the gap as they trail by 8 late in the second quarter on the Washington Elite Sports Network. .449 to play here in the second. Washington and Lee. And 28-20. As Sarah Zimmerman will head to the free throw line here for the Generals.
for the Generals immediately after Green checked out for the Hornets after picking up her second foul. You can see the intensity pick up on the court, and they've been able to put together this little run to get back within 8. Zimmerman now trying to put it to within 6.
And she will knock down the first. Zimmerman, 17 points in the win against Ferrum on Saturday. Starting to play more and more, misses the second. And that's Banks able to hold position for the rebound, but the Generals bring it back to 7.
For the Hornets, Green's still not on the floor, so be interesting to see who they try to go to. They've sort of struggled when she hasn't been on the floor with confidence of who's going to take the shot.
Kristofiak has that one blocked by Preckle.
And you can see for them just sort of passing the ball around, not really, as I said, taking the confidence to shoot the ball, and ends up getting the shot blocked.
Schleissner in the lane for 2. And Generals have cut it down to 5. Zimmerman gets her hands on that one to force the turnover. And Preckle, though, will give it right back. This is Bayless around a screen. Kimball. Step inside the three-point line. Back iron, long rebound to Shepos. Second possession here for the Hornets. Green, Campbell, and Williams all on the bench with 2 personal fouls for Shenandoah. 3 of their starting 5. 3 on the wing from Banks is off the mark. Kania gonna run the break the other way. Shuttlewood right back to Kania. Trying to get it to Schleissner and had it stripped away by Banks. Kania able to get there but knock it out of play.
Both teams hustling to tip balls and try to create some turnovers here. A little bit of an inaccurate pass there by Kania, trying to get the ball to Schleissner. Back-to-back turnovers now for the Generals.
Banks going all the way to the hoop, and it won't roll home. What a great move for Madison Banks.
And you got to like the aggressiveness there from Banks. The last couple possessions, as I said, not really anybody taking the confidence to shoot. But Banks there going right to the cup. Just unlucky roll.
She'll pick up the foul, though, trying to close out on Zimmerman. First foul on her, 14th foul on the Hornets. Under 3 minutes to play here in the second quarter at 28-23. Shenandoah lead. The Generals in the midst of an 8-0 run. Schleissner going left, and she's fouled. So Schleissner will step up to the free throw line. Already with a first half double-double, 10 points and 10 boards. And
that really has been her game all season long. You look at her stats, 19 points a game, 17 rebounds. So definitely playing her kind of game so far. Not necessarily the numbers from the field that you would hope, but as of late, shots have certainly been falling for her compared to that first quarter.
To the line for one more, and the second one clanks out. So 1 for 2 trip for Schleissner at the free throw line. Brings it back to a 4-point game. As the Generals running a 9-0 run. Shenandoah scoreless over the last 3.5 minutes. Trying to find some offense with their leading scorer sitting on the bench with 2 personal fouls. Shepos for Kimball. A step behind the free throw line is good.
And with Green on the bench, Kimball has been the one stepping up. Second leading scorer of the game now with 9 points. Look for her to keep shooting the ball and keep using that hot hand.
Kania tripped up on her way to the basket. Turns it right on over. Now Kimball. This is Kristofiak down low. Banks. And a foul going to go against Kania as Addison Banks finding a way to get to the hoop. Megan Zimmerman back in as Kania will take a seat. So Banks misses the front end. Banks, the 5'10 sophomore from Nokesville, Virginia, averaging about 13 minutes a game this year off the bench. Has played a lot more this season than she did last year during her first college season, and making an impact so far in this game. An empty trip, though, for her at the free throw line there. Shuttlewood at the logo. Generals down 6. Slicner inside the free throw line. Hits 13 points, 10 rebounds for Slicner here in the first half. And Washington and Lee has brought this all the way back to a 4-point game.
And you can tell Slicer quickly forgetting about that rather poor first quarter shooting by the whole team, but herself included, and really come alive here to pull the Generals back into this game.
Kristofiak around the screen. Shepos on the perimeter. Kimball will have to rise and fire. Can't hit. Preckle in the corner for 3. No. Tipped around, and it stays with the Generals. Washington lead just 2 of 10 from beyond the arc. And both those makes coming from Brianna Shuttlewood. 1:02 left to play before halftime. 4-point game. Slicner spins into a double team, hits anyways.
And sometimes with Slicner, it doesn't matter how many you put on her. That height advantage that she has is such a big deal, especially in this sport, and just finding another easy bucket to put home.
Around it goes for Banks. Top of the key, Kristofiak. Less than 10 to shoot for the Hornets. This one knocked away by the hands of Zimmerman. Just going to have to let it go. Kimball hoists it up. No, the shot clock was winding down. Generals push in transition. And that one knocked out of play by Kristofiak.
For the Hornets, when they get those possessions where they don't really have a great look that generates, they don't have the green on the floor to take the shot, and it forces them into tough situations like that where Kimball is just forcing up a not the best shot, to say the least.
So Shuttlewood waiting for some time to tick off. Shot clock off here at the end of the first half. 10 seconds to play before halftime in a 2-point game. Shuttlewood had it knocked right back towards her. Gets down to Slicner, gonna have to turn and throw it up, and it won't go. So Shenandoah will lead by 2 at the half, despite a 13-2 run from the Generals to close out the first 20 minutes and really vault themselves back into this game after a really slow start.
And it really is a tale of the first 2 quarters. Shenandoah really got off to a great defensive start, forcing the Generals in some tough shots, forcing them into situations where they don't really feel comfortable. And then on their offensive side of the ball, Kimball and Green really had a great first quarter, but then some of the foul trouble started to stack up, and you could see the confidence sort of dwindle away as the Generals went on that long run and clawed themselves back into this game.
So 30-28 our score after 20 minutes. Mary Slicner, game-high 15 points and 12 boards. Therese Green with 10 points to lead the way for Shenandoah, 9 more for Maddie Kimball. And Shenandoah with a slight 2-point advantage over Washington Lee. We'll step aside and more first half stats when we return. Coming up on the Washington and Lee Sports Network.
Inclusion means making what we offer here at W&L accessible to the broadest possible swath of students that are out there.
W&L has a phenomenal financial aid program, which allows so many more students to come here.
I've been very fortunate to have access to W&L's financial aid system, and they definitely want to make sure that students have access to all kinds of opportunities, and the cost is not a barrier for, say, a spring term abroad.
Once you come, no matter your financial background, we are going to ensure that you have access to all of the opportunities that form the W&L educational experience.
The Johnson Scholarship is a scholarship for leadership and integrity. I am very grateful for all of the aid that it's given me to get to go to college for free, but also with the scholarship, we get a summer stipend.
W&L finds ways to support students, and that makes my job a lot easier to have students who are supported and feel like this is a place where they can succeed.
We ensure that they have funds and resources that allow them to take part in research and internships and all kinds of summer opportunities.
Being able to graduate debt-free is such a privilege.
It is life-changing if a student can graduate without loan debts.
You kind of have a fresh slate. You're not going into the world with debt that you need to worry about and all of that pressure on top of the normal post-graduation pressure.
Getting the opportunity to come to an amazing school like W&L and knowing that I will graduate and not have all this debt has completely changed my life. My parents still can't really believe it, and it's just, I love it so much, and I love W&L.
If basketball jerseys were allowed to be customizable, where you can have like a clean slate on the back and put whatever you wanted on there, what would you put on the back? Like, it could be a nickname, it could be a picture, it could be whatever you want.
I kind of like the classic number, but maybe something for W&L, like the trident or generals. I don't know, that's not very creative.
Ice cold.
So I'd want it to be blank, like a whiteboard, and I'd want everyone to like color on it with a different color marker.
It would probably just be my last name that I go by on the team, which is Actor.
Probably the nickname I adopted here, Carol.
If basketball jerseys were customizable, what would you like the back of it to say?
I would just put a picture of an elk.
It wouldn't say anything, but it would just have the color pink on the back of it. Probably a picture of my dog.
It would probably just say Zooey Mama.
It wouldn't really say anything. It would just have a nice blown up picture of Zoo's face right on the back of it.
Probably my nickname, Sea Cat.
Maybe Slice or Mare. I would say a bald eagle or like a lion's head roaring on the back.
If basketball jerseys could be customizable and you put anything on the back, what would you put on?
A big Q. No. My name, Katie.
For the love of the game. That's what it's all about, they say. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team and the schools and communities we represent.
And for the many of us blessed with the strength to compete in sport at the college level, we understand that with what we were given comes a special obligation.
An obligation not merely to work towards a personal best in the classroom or in the sport we love, but rather an obligation to help those who have their own special needs and whose love for the game is no less intense.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. For Special Olympics athletes, victory belongs not only to those who first cross the line, but to all of those who compete and endure.
They are challenged in ways we cannot imagine. They are survivors who test themselves harder and with greater joy than we will ever know.
Since August of 2011, we and others from Division III campus communities have volunteered more than 250,000 hours, time away from the classroom and practice field, reaching across the country to coach and mentor Special Olympics athletes.
And to learn, as we all do, that in giving we receive so much more in return.
Sport ennobles us, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
Be part of it.
Get involved.
You can make a difference.
If you could add anyone or anything to Mount Rushmore, what would you put up there?
I think this was my answer in the fall too, but I said my dog's face.
Michelle Obama.
My roommate, my inspiration, my muse, Katie Lawson.
We'll have to say Katie Lawson.
Katie Lawson. Katie Lawson. Katie Lawson. Probably Katie Lawson.
Katie Lawson, I'd have to say.
Just off the top of my head, Katie Lawson. She's just stellar junior number 3 out of Chevy Chase, Maryland. I would hopefully carve her, but you know, she's got to be up there.
Tough one, Katie Lawson. I think I would probably have to add Katie Lawson's face because she's really pretty. Katie Lawson. Definitely Katie Lawson.
I'm gonna have to say Katie Lawson.
Icy's face.
Student success goes far beyond grades. Yes, students want to come and they want to achieve in their classrooms, but they also want to learn all of those things that are going to stay with them for the rest of their lives.
I would say the majority of Washington Lee students are, in addition to taking their classes, also at least part of 3 or 4 clubs.
When I got to this campus, I would have described myself as this really shy person who, yes, did theater and could perform on stage, but couldn't talk to people one-on-one. Now I'm the social chair of 3 different organizations on campus. Really, the transformation is just completely crazy.
While academics is first and we are student athletes, the professors here at W&L also want you to succeed in your athletic commitments. And so being able to work with the professors so you're able to get everything that you want out of your athletic commitments while also being academically successful as well.
I'm in a fraternity. It's been a really good opportunity, and I've grown really close with the guys who joined at the same time as me. Being around them, them being some of my best friends, has really just allowed me to grow as though we were a family together.
Of my really close friends, I would say that at least 2, if not 3 of them, I've met through the theater department. We get a lot of students who come in and do the shows, and so having friends that aren't necessarily theater majors but love to do the theater shows here makes it really special.
I sing in the Grace Episcopal Choir, where I've gotten to meet a number of people within the Lexington community, which has just been a super cool experience because Washington and Lee is so connected to Lexington, and so getting to be on both sides of it has just been an amazing experience.
Rockridge is this beautiful rural setting. The campus kind of bleeds right into the rural areas with the back campus farm and things like that. And so students are often out and about taking advantage of our back campus forest, the farm, and then getting out into some of the forested areas.
Lexington comes alive during spring term. The outing club becomes really active, doing hiking trails through the mountains. You could float down the Maury, which is a river that runs through Lexington itself. It's a really great time to be in this part of the country.
We want students to feel good about what they're doing and how they're growing and how they are becoming the people they want to be. That's student success at W&L.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
A good citizen is someone who wants to make a positive impact, both in their communities and in the world around them. The Division III approach is absolutely the best approach out there for amateur sport because it wants student athletes to explore all parts of who they are. Be successful in the classroom, be successful in competition, be successful in the community. So our student athletes learn what it means to strive for and attain success, but doing it the right way and being good citizens.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Back from halftime here inside of Holekamp Gymnasium, our score 30-28. Shenandoah in front of number 16 Washington in league as we dive into some of the first half stats. Hornets 38.2% from the floor. The Generals 33% from the field. Each team didn't shoot it well from beyond the arc. Shenandoah 3 of 11, the Generals 2 of 10, and everyone not named Brianna Shuttlewood 0 for 8. Brianna Shuttlewood 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. Everyone else did not make a field goal for the Generals. They've won the rebounding battle by 10, 27-17, but also a lot more turnovers for Washington, only 12 in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, a lot of those turnovers for the Generals came in the first quarter, but even still in the second quarter, some sloppy ball on their side of the ball, but certainly much better play. If you're a W&L fan, that you saw out of the Generals in that second quarter. And for Shenandoah, sort of the opposite. The first quarter was very promising. Second quarter started off well, but they got into some foul trouble. Obviously, you said, too, losing the rebounding battle, but the fouls really got to them there and allowed the Generals to get back into the game and only be down by 2 at the half.
Some leading players from the first 20 minutes. Mary Slicener, game-high 15 points and 12 rebounds. She played all 20 minutes in the first half, did not come off the floor for Washington and Lee. As for Shenandoah, Therese Green had 10 points, but she picked up 2 personal fouls. Her, Shawnice Campbell, and Emily Williams all had 2 fouls for the Hornets. And after they picked up their second foul, went to the bench and never returned in the first half for the Hornets. Maddie Kimball had 9 points and 3 boards in 18 minutes of action for Shenandoah. The only other player with more than 5 points from either side is Brianna Shuttlewood. She had 6 points on 2 made triples for Washington and Lee. Well, that's been it. It's been a couple of the stars from either side and not a whole lot from everybody else.
And that goes to show why Shenandoah really struggled in that second quarter, because 3 of their starters, as you said, did pick up those 2 fouls and weren't really on the court. So we'll see if they're able to stay out of foul trouble in this half, as they already all have 2, and keep the star power in the game and keep this game close.
So Riley Bryant gets it in for Quinn McGinnis. Elka Preckle, Zoo Rain, who returns after was a little banged up in the first half as well, and Mary Slicener, the 5 on the floor for the Generals. It's Kristofiak, Kimball, Williams, Campbell, and Green, the 5 on the floor for the Hornets. It's a Preckle 3 coming out of halftime. And that one off the back iron and a board for Shawnice Campbell.
You got to think for the Generals looking to get that 3-point shot on court, because you said McGinnis, the only one able to make a 3 in that first half. For the Generals, if they want to get a win and pull away in this one, the 3-point shot will be important.
Therese Green right back to work on the offensive end. Gets past Elka Preckle for 2. So that's 12 points on the night for the ODAC's leading scorer. Bryant out on the perimeter. Skips it for Preckle. She'll dial it up from the wing. Still too strong. Slicer to the offensive board. Dips underneath and lays it in for 2.
And if the Generals' 3-point shots aren't falling, I mentioned this earlier in the game, but those Slicer offensive rebounds are so crucial to still win back the possession and still come away with points on these possessions.
That's one of the things, too, with some of the front court players for the Hornets in foul trouble, as Green lofts one up from long range. That Slicer has a little bit more ability to be a little aggressive on the offensive end, and almost the defenders have to be quiet. Bryant, a 3 on the wing, and the Generals have their first lead of the night.
Great vision there from Slicer to get the ball across court. Bryant perfectly in position, catches the ball, and cashes home with 3.
It's the first lead for Washington and Lee, and it comes with 8.5 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Green to the bucket, off the mark, and McGinnis away with the rebound. Sue Rain getting a touch. Now Slicner at the elbow. Preckle on the wing. And this one off the mark.
Early emphasis on those Preckle threes with 3 already being put up, but still nothing falling for her.
To the basket all the way for 2 is Emily Williams.
And again, that was some of the scoring that the Hornets were missing out on between Green and Williams in that second quarter. Both of them getting going early, though, with a couple buckets in the second half.
Rain not close on that one. Shenandoah will slow down the pace. Sue Rain played just 5 minutes in that first half. Saw the athletic training staff at the end of the bench. She checked out halfway through the first quarter and never returned. But out there to start the second half. And Slicner just slaps that one away. An inbounds play here for the Hornets. Williams down low for Campbell. Working against Slicner, and Shawnee's Campbell lays it in.
Campbell again, just like we saw in that first half, getting good position inside and just putting up a very tough layup to stop.
Slicner, and he'll get her with a travel. So turnover number 13 of the day for the Generals. Williams looking for Green. And Green able to readjust and finish.
And an emphasis for the Hornets, a little bit different than the Generals. Generals more shooting from the outside, but the Hornets, all their buckets in the second half coming from down low, and some high percentage shots that have been falling.
Slicner trying to slip past Campbell. And then a foul going to come against Campbell as the elbow twisting up around the head of McGinnis, reaching in, and that'll be the third on Shawnee's Campbell.
And already another foul picked up for Campbell, so she'll check out of the game. But just a little too aggressive there, spinning around. Thought she might have traveled there too. Either way, really more costly for the Hornets there, picking up that foul.
So it allows Icy Kania, Brianna Shuttlewood, and Sarah Zimmerman to come back in. Slicner, the hesitation, no.
Slicner was a little more aggressive and was a little more effective without Campbell on the floor. Not able to get that shot to fall, but we'll see if they go to her more often now that with Campbell on the floor.
Williams on the wing, left it off the front rim. That'll be a foul against Kimball. And that's the fouls we were talking about in the first half that are very avoidable if you're Shenandoah. There's no reason to step in front of the person with the ball like 60 feet from the basket. And that's when you'll watch back and realize that, yes, you're trying to cut off space, but if you cut off where they need to go, it's going to be a foul. It's going to be a blocking foul every time. It's just an unnecessary risk that you're taking. Slicner in the low block, back iron and out.
And Kimball was clearly upset by that foul call, but just as you said, she blocked the space of McGinnis, and if you can't move forward and you're blocking the space, they're going to call it every single time.
Green, step back. 3 is good for Therese Green.
It's a excellent little fake out there. Looked like she might have gone in for the drive or perhaps a kick, but she just steps back. No one really comes up to pick it up, and a free shot, free space for the 3.
And they're going to get a offensive foul against Zimmerman, and a little bit delayed on that call. Washington and Lee is going to take a timeout with 5:23 to play here in the third. A 41-33 lead for Shenandoah, as that'll take us to the media timeout. And 5.5 minutes to play here in the third quarter on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. 41-33, 5:23 to play here in the third quarter. Shenandoah in front of number 16, Washington and Lee. It's Hornets basketball on the inbounds.
The Hornets right now on a little 9-0 run. Shenandoah's going to look to stifle that with some full court defense.
Kimball in front of the Shenandoah bench. Working around. Comes back to her in nearly the same spot, trying to feed it down low, and we're going to get a foul away from the ball, and that's going to be against Shepos for an illegal screen. So McGinnis will bring it up the floor here for Washington and Lee. Down by 8. Zimmerman passing up a 3, going to go to the basket. Not close. Rebound tipped around by Kimball.
Zimmerman on that drive never really had control of the ball, even for when she started dribbling, and you kind of see it on the end result of the shot there, just going right off the edge of the glass.
Green, too strong on the layup. Zimmerman on the break. And that time, Shepos tried to stand in there to take perhaps maybe a charge. And it'll be last touch off the Hornets for Washington and Lee basketball. And each team wanting to get a little discussion with the refs as it takes us to another timeout with 4:31 to play. We'll keep it here for now. And Shane, on the offensive end, similar to the first quarter for the Generals, struggling from the field, now just 2 of 10 here in the third quarter. They went 3 of 19 in the first, but scored 20 points in the middle second quarter.
Yeah, for the Generals, it's really just not how you want to start the second half. They got that momentum building in the second quarter. Schleissner really started to put it together. She is with 17 points tonight and has shot the ball okay this quarter, but as a team, there really hasn't been too much offense outside of her, especially in this quarter. And Shenandoah, again, doing more of what they did in the first quarter. A couple silly fouls again, but able to find some shots inside, get some good looks, and they built their lead back up to 9 on a little 9-0 run here.
So 9-0 run over the last 4 minutes and 11 seconds, as again, things have gone cold for the Washington and Lee offense. They made just one of their last 7 shots. Generals and Hornets both relying heavy on their top scorers. Therese Green and Mary Schleissner each with 17. No other player in double figures. Kimball has 9 for the Hornets, but Shuttlewood, the next highest player with the Generals, was just 6.
And her 2 threes came on back-to-back possessions in that second quarter, so she really hasn't been taking a lot of shots for the team either. Just a couple of heat check shots, if you will, for her that she was able to knock down. But the Generals really going to have to try to find a second source besides Schleissner to get a couple buckets going, take a little bit of the stress off of her, but try to get themselves back into this game.
Shuttlewood off for Megan Zimmerman. Kania, catch and shoot 3, nowhere close. Come to Williams at the high post trying to feed Kristofiak, and we'll say last touch off Washington and Lee.
Shenandoah really now trying to emphasize getting the ball down low. It's where really most of their points have come from. Obviously Green hit a 3 earlier in this half, but it's really been their focal point, and it's worked so far to start this third quarter.
Kimball, and that one kicked away by Schleissner. Kimball is able to get her in the air and trying to feed it down low and only throwing it off her foot.
It's sort of, you do what you got to do, play there for Schleissner, not letting the ball get down inside the paint, just booting that one away like she's a soccer player.
Green on the perimeter. Trying to force her way inside, and it rattles out for Therese Green. She'll earn a trip to the free throw line.
Green there determined to get to the cup, forcing her way inside and forcing the Generals into a tough situation. There's not really much they could have done, and Zimmerman there commits the foul.
Second foul on Megan Zimmerman. Sends Therese Green back to the free throw line as she hits the first. Green an efficient 7 of 16 from the floor today. Now 2 of 3 at the free throw line. Make it 3 of 4 as she has a game-high 19. Shenandoah has pushed their lead up to 10 again, 43-33. Slicer, a straightaway triple is good.
And again, I said earlier in this game, the Hornets would live with Slicer shooting those outside shots, but for her, it's been the shots that she's trying to work on this season and slowly improving on, and you see that one go in there for the Generals, stopping that Hornets run.
Williams throws it away, looking for a cutter in green.
And that time Zimmerman not letting Green get the best of her physically, getting her hands up, and Williams are not really paying attention to where that ball was going, just sails right over the head of everybody.
So Shuttlewood across half court, left to right. Schleissner at the high post. Nearly dribbled it off a defender's foot. Preckle on the driving kick for Zimmerman. Zimmerman across, Schleissner, another three, another make!
And Slicer now heating up from outside, and that's a dangerous sight to see because if she starts making those shots, you really no way to defend her.
She made 3 threes all season entering to the night, and she has 2 on back-to-back possessions. Green looking to answer, cannot. But Williams for the offensive rebound, and Shenandoah will call a timeout once they grab it. Back-to-back triples from Schleissner has cut the lead back down to 4, 43-39, with 2:42 to play here in the third.
Schleissner really doing everything right now just to keep her team in the game. That's what you want to see out of your top scorer and your leader on the team. Knocking down those 2 threes, quite unexpected really from anybody in the building, but you'll take any offense that you can get, especially how it's been a struggle in the first quarter and to come out into the half for the Generals. And Shenandoah probably a little shocked by those 2 threes. Coach Kraft just trying to calm the team down a little bit, coach them back up, and try to get them going back again on offense.
So back-to-back triples from Schleissner gives her 23 points. And if you want a dueling stars here tonight, that's what you've gotten to this point between Therese Green and Mary Schleissner. 23 and 15 for Schleissner, 19 points and 5 boards for Therese Green. Stofiak for Kimball in the corner, left it short. And Schleissner grabbing the miss.
And if you see how these 2 teams play, it really is all through their stars. We saw in the second quarter when Green checked out how much they struggled. And for the Generals, Schleissner's played the whole game. So really everything goes through those 2 players, and that's what we're seeing tonight.
Sarah Zimmerman with a layup in transition. Schleissner got her hands on that one from Green. And then after the loose ball, Green able to stay with it to win it back. Back to a 2-point game. Kimball to the bucket, off the window for 2. Zimmerman, plenty of real estate, and Green reaching in, knocks that one away. McGinnis back in for Shuttlewood. So McGinnis going to inbound here for the Generals. It's right into Schleissner. McGinnis foul on an extended far side. And a foul underneath. Going to go against Kimball. That's her third. Shawnice Campbell has 3 personals for the Hornets, and now Maddie Kimball with a third. And Kimball a bit frustrated as she comes off. Bayless back into the game. And they'll send McGinnis at the line.
With all this foul trouble on the Hornets side, you got to think that the Generals will only be more and more aggressive going inside, trying to pick up the 4th and potentially 5th fouls in some of these Hornets players. So for Shenandoah, they're going to have to be disciplined on the defensive end and know when to be aggressive, but also know when it's not really worth picking up that next foul.
So 2 for 2 at the line for Quinn McGinnis. It's a 2-point game again here with under 90 seconds to play in the third. Green going to go to the hoop. She's bumped on the drive. And they'll earn a trip to the line. That's going to go against Megan Zimmerman on the help defense, and that's her third. So that sends Therese Green to the free throw line. Green 3 of 4. Only 6 free throw attempts for Shenandoah, just 8 for Washington and Lee. And so despite a few people being in foul trouble, a lot of them have come as not shooting fouls, just inconsequential fouls on the floor.
That goes back to what you were saying, where it's just sort of ticky-tack, not really the best foul picking up. We saw some earlier in the midcourt, and they still hurt you in different ways, but not a lot from the free throw line.
An empty trip, though, for Green. A transition layup for Megan Zimmerman, and we're tied at 45. And Shenandoah stepped out of bounds. Bayless stepped across the end line before passing it in, and that's a turnover.
That's not one you see very often, but the official's always looking out for it. Her foot just slipped right across the line and gives the ball right back to the Generals with the chance to get their second lead of the game.
Tied at 45. Slicer, catch and shoot 3. Back iron. Rebound for Therese Green. Slicer trying to knock it away, and she'll pick up the foul. It'll come as a surprise, but that's the first foul on Slicer with 53 seconds to play in the third quarter. Just a little over-aggressive trying to knock that one away.
That goes to show she's done a really good job being patient and knowing when to be aggressive on defense. She's had a couple blocks, couple of nice plays, and her picking up her first foul is a big reason why she's been on the court the entire game.
Shenandoah just has to get it in. They do to Green, and she has to force one up. Washington and Lee will slow it down. Slicer outside the lane, trying to skip it to Preckle, and all Bayless can do is knock it away. So side out of bounds here for the Generals. Less than 40 seconds to play in the third quarter. All knotted at 45. Treated to a good one thus far. In between Washington and Lee and Shenandoah. Slicer on the drive, trying to leave it off for McGinnis, and again caught up amongst a few Hornets' hands. Just 8 to shoot for Washington and Lee. McGinnis trying to loft it in for Slicer. And no good. Kristofiak will settle and see if the Hornets try and play for one final shot here in the third quarter. Williams looking for Campbell and throws it away.
It's a couple possessions now. Williams has rushed her passes and not really looked where she's been throwing the ball. The one earlier to Green that sailed over everybody's head, and that one just not anywhere near Campbell, and gives the Generals a chance now to break this tie.
So with 12.8 seconds left in the third, Washington and Lee will get one final possession. And the clock started early before she touched it, which means they'll have to re-input it. The clock does not start until the ball is picked up. However, about a second and a half ran off the clock before it got out to half court. So now the officials will come together to talk about it. But again, yes, so it goes back to 12.8 seconds. So just have to input it from the same spot. Just game clock started to tick too early that time.
Clock operator getting a little overzealous there.
So McGinnis will pick it up and bring it across half court. Less than 10 seconds to play here in the third. McGinnis to the hoop. Gonna loft it up for 2. And Shenandoah gives up a 12-2 run to close out the third quarter, and that lofts Washington and Lee back in front by 2. Just their second lead of the game, as they will take a 2-point lead to the fourth quarter.
And that Williams turnover on their last possession looks even worse now, as they had the chance to take the last shot, but a bad pass by Williams sails right out of bounds, and then McGinnis takes it coast to coast. A nice drive to the cup to give the Generals a 2-point lead going to the fourth. We have a good one.
47-45, number 16, Washington and Lee in front of Shenandoah. We'll have the fourth quarter when we return right here on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Start of the fourth quarter here in Lexington. Number 16, Washington and Lee 47, Shenandoah 45. Ryan Connell and Shane Riley with you on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. We've got a great one on our hands here in a rematch of last year's conference championship game between the Hornets and Generals, and a travel coming out of the start of the quarter from Addison Banks gives it right back to Washington and Lee. The Generals a 14-3 run over the last 4 minutes of that third quarter to retake the lead, as they have the lead for just the second time here tonight.
And they've been able to stack that momentum a lot in the end of the second quarter than at the end of that third quarter there. We'll see if they're able to get off to a faster start at the start of this quarter. Shenandoah will be the ones taking the reins for that.
Schleister misses the turnaround. She's had the best day for the Generals, 23 points, 19 rebounds. Therese Green, 19 points to lead the way for Shenandoah, and an illegal screen from Shawnee's Campbell. Stuck the elbow out just enough, and that's her fourth personal foul.
Campbell really has done a solid job in the low post on offense and defensively. Just some careless fouls that she's been able to pick up, and now Schleister, you got to look for the Generals to go right back at her, try to get her out of this game.
Zimmerman, here for McGinnis. Schleister, low block, turnaround, fadeaway, left it short.
And with Campbell with those 4 fouls, you look for Schleister and try to go into her and force some contact and maybe force a whistle out of the officials, but opting for a little fadeaway there that doesn't fall.
Green, hesitation around the screen, going to the basket, and a foul coming against Zimmerman. She'll send Therese Green to the line. Third foul on Sarah Zimmerman. That's one of the things that Therese Green does better than most other players in the conference at initiating contact and earning a trip to the free throw line. She's 3 for 6 at the line here tonight.
And once she gets a step on you on her drive, it's so hard to recover without fouling her, without trying to get a hand in the face. So Zimmerman there really forced to commit the foul and not give up the easy shot.
She goes 2 for 2 to knot the game at 47 all. So Green now with 21 to lead the way for Shenandoah. McGinnis going to feed Schleister. Zimmerman, and she traveled. Just enough to think about this shot fake and stepped before putting it on the floor. Washington Elite again showing some pressure. Kimball looking to skip it up for Green. He's trapped right at half court and turns it over. McGinnis with room to go to the basket and a foul. We'll see who that's on. And it's going to go against, looks like Littlejohn. This will be her second. You saw Campbell just tried to stay straight up and as much out of the way as possible, but McGinnis attacking the basket. Brings Megan Zimmerman back in. Kania cycles off. So McGinnis knocks down another free throw, takes her to 9 points. And she goes 2 for 2. So 10 points for McGinnis, the only other Generals player in double figures. Besides Schleister's 23. Breaking the pressure, do the Hornets. So Kimball will have to reset. Around the screen, Kimball at Schleister, blocked.
And Schleister again showing her defensive prowess, good position inside, using her length, not getting too close up into the body of Kimball there and just stretching over for the block.
7 seconds here to shoot for the Hornets. As Kristofiak comes back in, trying to loft it in for Green. Quick shot. She got her hands on that one. And still got it across half court. Schleister, a wing three. Off the mark, Megan Zimmerman, right place, right time for the rebound. Schleister trying to leave it off for Sarah Zimmerman. It deflects to McGinnis in the corner. That's no good. Schleister in position. And Kimball had to foul her as she grabbed the board, and that's foul number 4 on Maddie Kimball. So now both Kimball and Campbell in foul trouble for the Hornets, each with 4 each.
Be curious to see what Coach Smeltzer-Craft does here, deciding to leave them both on the floor.
Slicer along the baseline, no. Kimball to the basket and into the body of McGinnis. Turn a trip to the line. You have to keep your faith, though, in Kimball and Campbell. You know, Kimball, a fifth year, Campbell, a senior, are two of your veteran leaders on this team. You have to trust that even though you're in the game with 4 personal fouls, they're going to try and do as much as they can to still be a factor and, you know, not let that really be in the way for them defensively, even though 1 foul disqualifies them from this contest. I think that's the leash that they've able to establish with Coach Smeltzer-Craft, and Kimball a calm 2 for 2 at the line.
It'll be interesting to see their aggressiveness, though, on that defensive end. You already mentioned Campbell took a step back on one of the drives earlier, so Kimball also a pretty aggressive player. We'll see how she does defensively.
Slicer into the contact, trying to create an opportunity going into Campbell, and no call. If you're Slicer, you have to feel like every time down you're going to try and do what you can to generate a foul. Green switching back hands, blocked by Slicer at the rim.
Slicer right now really just putting on a clinic of how to rotate down low and get in position to make these crucial plays at the rim.
Elka Preckle bangs home a corner 3.
If there's any time for Preckle to get hot, it would be now for the Generals. Really struggling. Her first points of the contest coming on that shot, but still a very big shot for these Generals team.
Well, Kimball settle things here for the Hornets. Needing some buckets, just one of their last 9. And an offensive foul, and that's going to get Maddie Kimball out of this game. Lowered the shoulder into Quinn McGinnis, and that is foul number 5.
And, you know, Smeltzer-Craft trust in her players is definitely well put, but just Kimball too aggressive there on that play. You cannot afford that, especially on offense.
Take another look. We'll see what we can see. But enough that the officials saw for an offensive foul, and Kimball fouls out with 6.5 minutes to go. That's a loss for the Hornets. When the Generals turn it over on the next possession down, a transition triple for Therese Green. Back iron, and Zimmerman there for the rebound. Actor trying to tiptoe the baseline, able to stay inbounds. Sarah Zimmerman, a wing 3.
And the 3 ball, as this game's gone on, has looked more and more confident from these General shooters, and it's now finally starting to go in, and still not shooting the best from three-point range, just about under 30%, but certainly much better than it was in that first half and even in the third quarter.
So Campbell comes off, Addison Banks back in. Lauren Actor checked in after Kimball fouled out. Slicer on the bench for the first time tonight. Just trying to get a little bit of rest. Green to the bucket and able to lay it in past Zimmerman for 2. And for Shenandoah, with Maddie Kimball out of the game, they're going to have to rely on Therese Green down the stretch to come up big.
Yeah, pretty much all their points have come from Green and Kimball in this game.
Megan Zimmerman gets her in the air with a couple of shot fakes. McGinnis to the basket. No, off the side of the iron. Kept in by Green. And trying to save it. She can't. That one deflects last off the Hornets. But Green tried to throw it off the feet of Zimmerman. She had the wherewithal to sidestep it.
Zimmerman just a heads-up play there, understanding she has the length and the ability to get the trap by herself in that corner. And then, as you said, sidestepping the pass and winning a possession back again for the Generals.
Actor underneath the basket. Lefty layup way too strong. Good look for Actor, just couldn't finish. Little John. High post Williams. She gets it back. Trying to step through. And a foul going to come against the Generals. It's going to go against McGinnis. Be her 3rd. As that'll take us to the media timeout. 4:51 to play here in the 4th quarter. Washington and Lee ahead by 4. 55-51 over Shenandoah on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. 4:51 to play here in the fourth quarter. A 4-point game between 16th-ranked Washington Elite and Shenandoah. The Generals lead by 4 with the Hornets going to the free throw line, and that'll be Jessica Littlejohn to the stripe for 2. Maddie Kimball fouled out of this game just about a minute ago worth of game time with 13 points and 5 rebounds. So the Hornets down their 5th-year point guard. Therese Green's got 23 and 7 for the Hornets. Mary Slicer, 23 points, 21 rebounds, and Littlejohn's first free throw rattles out.
And these points for Shenandoah are so crucial to get some free ones and help Green out on the offensive end. As we talked about, Kimball, really big factor on the offensive side, not on the floor anymore. A big free throw there to cut it to 3, though.
55-52, under 5 minutes to play here in the fourth. A rematch of last year's ODAC championship and the year prior as well. McGinnis, crossover to the basket, lefty layup, no. Rebound for Shawnice Campbell. Littlejohn going to call out the play in front of her bench. You have to think a lot of the ball is going to be in the hands of Therese Green. How well she has played not only today but all season. There she comes off a screen, flares out for a 3 and can't connect.
Again, a nice little move there. We saw that in the first half where she steps up into a screen and then steps right back. Preckle there not prepared for it, but that time Green not able to knock down the shot.
For the Generals trying to get more quality looks down low. Shawnice Campbell guarding Mary Slicer with 4 personal fouls. Preckle picked up her dribble. McGinnis now to Slicer at the elbow. The turnaround in the lane. No. Green back out for Littlejohn at the logo. She'll use a screen to her right. Green trying to switch hands and a foul reaching in. It's going to go against that's the 4th foul against McGinnis. Looked, if anything, perhaps that might have been on Preckle, but seems that McGinnis was the one whistled for the foul, and that's her 4th, so she'll rotate off. Brianna Shuttlewood back in. Williams underneath the basket, the turnaround, all the way around the rim and down. Emily Williams brings it to a 1-point game. Zimmerman around the perimeter for Preckle, a catch-and-shoot triple. Back iron.
And Preckle tonight just really not able to find the range. Only 1 for 7 for 3. Her only 3 coming in this quarter, but it's not really her night tonight shooting the ball.
Green's got a screen, 1 dribble, back down to Williams. Trying to step through traffic, can't. And Slicer had it knocked out of her hands by Green. .252 to play in the fourth in a 1-point game.
And those hustle plays, as you saw there by Green, so important as this game continues to wind down.
And that's a foul going to go against Preckle on the inbounds. And that is going to send Williams to the free throw line. So right off the inbounds play here, Williams gets cut to the basket, and a foul called will send her to the line.
Interesting call there, the official on the opposite side of the court. The one making the call, obviously she had an angle on it. Saw some contact there, and Williams now trying to take the lead.
She goes 1 of 2 to tie the game at 55. Shuttlewood. Around for Sarah Zimmerman. Preckle gonna put it on the deck, go to the basket. Has it blocked right back to her, and she couldn't hold on to it. Zimmerman takes a swipe, and again, Shenandoah able to settle it. Littlejohn, floater off the glass.
For the Generals here, you gotta look to get the ball back into the hands of Slicer. She's gone quiet since she subbed out of the game, and
there she goes, right on cue. Shane Euro step banks it in for 2.
yeah, especially as this game continues to wind down, you got to have the ball in the hands of your best player. And as I said, she had gone quiet the last few possessions up and down the court, but able to cut to the cup and tie this game up.
57 all, under 2 minutes to play. Therese Green on the wing. Gets by. Gets the shot off. Can't settle it, but Slicener out of bounds. And she tried to grab the loose ball. 8 seconds to shoot here for the Hornets. Comes in for Williams. Driving kick, Kristofiak in the corner. Left it short.
Yeah, all the time and space there for Kristofiak. Zimmerman offered to help and just not able to knock down the three.
Slicener trying to go end-to-end, cannot. Megan Zimmerman the offensive board. Preckle a three, bang!
And again, Preckle with some timely threes in this fourth quarter, hitting the shots exactly when she needs to. As I said earlier, not the best shooting performance. Still only 2 for 9 from beyond the arc, but another very timely shot for the Generals to bring this lead back up to 3.
Little John with the dribble. Green run off the three-point line. Gonna settle for a deep 2. Back iron, no. Slicener the rebound. Under a minute to play. 60-57, Washington and Lee in front. Shuttlewood will calm the pace.
The shot clock going to run all the way down for this Generals possession, using up as much clock as they can. Still trying to get a good look.
Gonna go to Slicener with 7. The fadeaway along the baseline, no. Zimmerman able to save it. And Washington and Lee calls a timeout. Hustle plays from the Generals, keeping them alive as they lead by 3 and get a 20-second reset on the shot clock. Let's take a look back at that last 3, though, from Elka Preckle. That gave the Generals the lead. Slicener tried to go end-to-end, no, but Megan Zimmerman, the hustle play, keeps the possession alive. Kick out for Preckle, just her second make of the night, but a big one.
And it really has been the story for the Generals tonight. Slicener has been a one-man show at times, but the whole team has not really been super efficient at certain moments, but when they need to get a shot, when the momentum's starting to go the other way, the other Generals players like Preckle have stepped up and hit some big shots.
Elka Preckle, 6 points on 2 of 9 from beyond the arc. Mary Slicener, 25 points, 24 rebounds. For the junior forward, Therese Green, 23 and 9 for Shenandoah. The top 2 scorers in the conference have really traded shots throughout the contest. But some big hustle plays. Megan Zimmerman, 4 points, 8 rebounds, and a couple on the last few possessions there for the Generals. The one that sets up the Preckle 3, and the one right there on that Slicener miss to get the second possession and call a timeout. And allow Washington and Lee to have a different possession here with 32.2 seconds left.
And that really is the difference in these close kinds of games. Who's going to make the hustle plays? Who's going to lay it all out on the line and try to come away with the victory so far? And right now, Megan Zimmerman for the Generals is getting those plays done.
So Shuttlewood going to inbound for Washington and Lee right in front of her own bench. Generals have 1 timeout remaining. Shuttlewood get it right back from Zimmerman. Shenandoah opting not to foul and play straight up defense. Here with about a 12-second differential between shot and game clock. Shot clock down inside of 8. Shuttlewood gonna have a step back 3. Brianna Shuttlewood off the mark. Slicener trying to save it, and that'll be last off the Hornets.
Once again, just heads-up plays once over and over again for the Generals. Schleister going for the board, forcing the Hornets to get a hand on it, and then understanding that she didn't make contact with it and letting the ball go out of play.
So now Shenandoah going to take a timeout. So 12.2 seconds left. They'll use one of their final 3 timeouts. 4 fouls against Shenandoah, so the next one will send Washington and Lee to the free throw line. And you heard Coach Smeltzer-Kraft, even before she called that timeout, just put the emphasis on you have to foul as quick as possible, because now at this point you do not have the ball. Washington and Lee also has the possession arrow in their way, so a jump ball doesn't get you anywhere. You need to foul and try and get the ball back here in this situation.
You got to think for Coach Smeltzer-Kraft, she's going to try to devise a plan where either they can try to get a quick steal on the inbounds pass or get the ball into the hands of somebody they want on the line. Force the ball to go there, and obviously you don't want Campbell picking up that final foul. There's a lot going into this play for both sides, but really the Hornets have to figure out how to foul quickly and get somebody on the line that they like to see.
McGinnis comes in for Shuttlewood. She'll be the inbounder. Both Zimmerman's, Preckle, and Slicner, the 5 on the floor. Comes into Elka Preckle, and Shenandoah will take some time to foul. Just about 1.8 comes off the clock, so still 10.5 seconds remain. And that sends Elka Preckle to the free throw line. And ironically enough, here, Shane, in the 15th game of the season, this is Elka Preckle's first trip to the free throw line this season. And she misses the first.
It could really be bigger free throws in any moment so far on the year. One free throw obviously puts it to a 4-point game. So 2 possessions. It's a very big shot coming here.
Preckle on the second. Nails. And Shenandoah will use a timeout to advance the ball across half court. They are down by 4 with 10.4 seconds left. And now you have to think the shot's got to come here for Therese Green.
Yeah, it's either going to be a quick 2 on the inside if they're able to find it. Otherwise, they're going to have to try to work the ball around. Also get a quick 3. Either way, they're still going to be down a possession, still going to have to foul on the other end. But as you said, Therese Green, likely the one the ball is going to go into. She's also gone quiet, a little bit like Mary Slicer in the middle of this fourth quarter. But Therese Green gone quiet the last few minutes. Will she be able to come up with a big shot or somebody else on that Shenandoah team?
And if you're Shenandoah, you're down by 4. You don't necessarily need a 3 because it's still a 2-possession game. A quick 2 doesn't hurt you, but your biggest emphasis is you only have 10.4 seconds left, so trying to get the best shot possible with leaving as much time on the clock remaining is the biggest key of all.
Well, ideally, you get the ball right in off an inbound and shoot it right away wherever it is on the court. Obviously, it doesn't always go that way, but as you said, really just emphasizing a good look, not necessarily the best look, but getting it off as quick as possible. You obviously don't want to force up a bad shot, but you don't want to take too much time off the clock.
And if you're the Washington Elite, you're trying not to foul in the act of shooting. If you can foul at all, it's while someone has the ball in their hands, just not in the act of shooting.
Yeah, especially from beyond the arc, because you see that all the times. They foul from beyond the arc, shot goes in, and they have a chance to tie the game.
Williams to inbound here for the Hornets. It comes to Kristofiak in the corner, trying to loft it down low for Campbell. She'll put the easy layup with 7 seconds left, and Washington and Lee will call a timeout. So the Generals kind of closed out hard on the 3, which allowed Campbell to get the easy lay-in, and again, it's now just a 2-point game as we take another look. See it come into the corner here. Kristofiak pump fake the 3, and Campbell slipped right to the rim for the layup.
A good patience there from Kristofiak. Understanding that the clock is winding down, but understanding that she has her teammate Campbell. Once the defender flies by, can kick it right down low to her for the easy bucket. Only took 3 seconds off the clock there, so overall pretty efficient possession for the Hornets. But again, it really comes down to whether or not the Generals will hit their free throws.
So Shenandoah with 1 timeout left. The Generals now have none, but Washington Elite can't advance the ball past half court, and that pivotal here in the final seconds because it allows you to kind of put yourself in a spot where you're less likely to get trapped. And at the end of the day, Shenandoah's going to have to try and foul as quick as possible. You need to put yourself in a position to get somebody open who you want to take some free throws if it allows. There was 7 seconds left. McGinnis, Preckle, both Zimmermans and Mary Slicer to the 5 on the floor for the Generals. It's Williams with Green, Banks, Littlejohn, and Kristofiak for Shenandoah. McGinnis going to inbound here in front of the Generals bench. Comes in for Sarah Zimmerman, and she is fouled with 4.9 seconds remaining. So Williams picks up her 3rd foul, and now Sarah Zimmerman steps up to the line with some big free throws. 4.9 seconds left, her team up by 2. So Zimmerman at the line, hits the first.
That's definitely a big shot for the Generals. Keeps it at a point where if a 3 does manage to go in for the Hornets, it will remain tied. And this one, a huge shot now.
Zimmerman off the back iron. And the Hornets grab the miss, call a timeout. 3.8 seconds left. And a chance to advance the ball for Shenandoah to try and get one last look.
And now really for the Hornets, it is just getting the best look that they can from beyond the arc. It may not be in the hands of Green, as the Generals probably will try to keep it out of that way. And on the other end of the floor, Megan Zimmerman had a chance to get that offensive rebound and almost seal the game, but Hornets able to win it back and get another chance to send this game to overtime.
So Shenandoah and Washington and Lee. 3-point game, 3.8 seconds left. The Hornets drawing something up in the huddle. They advance the ball, elected to input it on the near side closest to us here at the bottom of your screen. Down by 3. Each team out of timeouts. Green, Williams, Campbell, Kristofiak, and Littlejohn, the 5 on the floor for the Hornets. Both Zimmermans, McGinnis, Preckle, and Slicner for Washington and Lee. Therese Green, the inbounder here for Shenandoah. Williams going to try and get it right back to Green. She gets to the free throw line. Left it short, and the game's over. Washington and Lee win 62-59 as they improve to winners of 6 in a row, 13-2 on the season, and now 5-1 in league play.
A curious decision there by Green to drive into the semicircle right above the free throw line and take a shot there. They needed a three-pointer to tie the game. Maybe she was expecting that the Generals would foul or something along those lines, but that did not happen, and the game ends. The Generals' 3-point victory.
We'll take one final look at that last possession for Shenandoah, but Green, the inbounder, always sometimes the most dangerous person because they're necessarily open right when they come on the floor. She got to the free throw line, pulled up, and even if she did get fouled at all, it's not really the best look there.
She had an open look from the top of the arc from 3. It was a couple steps behind the arc, but still a better look than that, and opting for the 2-point shot, just not going to get the job done.
So 62-59 the final. Washington and Lee wins. 25 points, 24 rebounds for Mary Slicner. Quinn McGinnis finishes with 10. Sarah Zimmerman and Elka Preckle each with 7 for Washington and Lee. Therese Green, 23 points and 9 rebounds for Shenandoah. 13 points for Maddie Kimball and 8 points for Jessica Littlejohn. But Washington and Lee holds on. They survive after not taking the lead until the second half. They led just 5 times throughout the game. Never led by more than 6 points and hold on to win by 3.
And just like all these matchups tend to do between the Hornets and the Generals of Washington and Lee, they always bring a lot of excitement. We saw that first quarter start for the Generals pretty slow. Shenandoah, really good first quarter for them. Second quarter, the Generals built the momentum. A little slow start out of the second half, but they really started to build it all together, and foul trouble was really the key for Shenandoah as that game continued on, as Kimball fouled out and Campbell also in foul trouble. But the Generals able to hold on and secure a very big W in ODAC play.
If you wanted a second ODAC championship rematch, we have a men's basketball ODAC championship rematch on our hands here in the nightcap inside Holekamp Gymnasium as Washington and Lee host number 10 Hampton-Sydney at 7:30. But that'll wrap it up for us here in the first of 2 ODAC championship rematches. Washington and Lee 62-59, the victors over Shenandoah. Those 2 teams will meet again in February 15th up in Winchester. The next game for the Generals Saturday on the road in Salem against Roanoke. Shenandoah will be home against Lynchburg. The Hornets dropped to 9-5, 5-2 in league play. While Washington and Lee improves to 13-2, 5-1 in league play, and 5-0 here at home as they win their 6th straight game by a final of 62-59 over Shenandoah in a ODAC championship rematch. For all of us at the Washington and Lee Sports Network, my broadcast partner Shane Riley, I'm Ryan Connell saying thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. We'll catch you for game number 2 between Hampton-Sydney and Washington and Lee coming up in about 45 minutes on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. But our final in game 1, W&L 62, Shenandoah 59.